Boom. So yeah, basically going to run through the article, talk about um, the organization, the data that we collected, and then if anyone's here and has any questions, love to answer it for them. So had a lot of people ask about anonymous queries, and basically anonymous queries are when you see right here, we have 1,500 clicks in the last 3 months. I mean, we can do it 7 days, 156. If you have 156 clicks, you would expect there to be 156 clicks under queries, and there isn't. Normally speaking, you're going to get anywhere between 0%, that's the extreme end, up to we've seen as much as 80% of the click data in here. So anonymous queries basically are queries that Google doesn't want to show you for privacy reasons. One of the big reasons, like again, if we do branded queries, 124 branded queries plus 3 non-branded queries is 127 queries, and those are obviously opposites. And so that should equal this number, but it doesn't. So there are queries that are obviously being hidden. So we want to dig into how bad it was, what it looked like. And so the Search Console API allows for a little bit more information most of the time. And we wanted to see exactly how much. And so I had my right-hand man export all the data for 3 different sites in each kind of category of size. And you can see here, we did just regular queries, filtered by non-branded and filtered by branded to see if there was any differences by those filters. And we exported on the query level and the page level. So again, if we go back to 28 days here, we have the page level and the query level. Same thing is going to be for Search Console as well. Yeah, it was interesting. You can see here, the more data that you had, so obviously 12 months, well, see, that's again not true. So if we look at site 1 here at Search Console, 20% of the clicks shown in the query. So we had 44 out of the 213 clicks, but we saw 80% of the impressions. And so you'll see a pattern right here throughout all of the impression levels, that you're going to have higher percentages. The issue with that Guy ended up letting me know later was that this is done on the page level. So again, if I come in here, I type in SEO gets right here, we have one impression from the domain level. So like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impressions on the page level because I have these site links, because this is technically impression. So it's interesting to see that it's considered differently from the API for the impressions. So this number can kind of seem a little inflated. But yeah, I mean, 0%. This site was tiny. It only had 7 clicks in the last 3 months and received zero clicks in the query. And you get as much as 65%. Again, you can look through this chart. The branded, non-branded query part, the part that I found interesting is if you take the total clicks on the non-branded, so 42 plus 5 is 47. You come over here. Is that true? 42 plus 5 is 47, which is actually more than over here. So the way Google is filtering is very interesting, because there's not really a rhyme or reason. This site had less clicks than the small site 1 in that same period. This showed 20%, and this showed 65%. And this one had a lot more branded queries, which that's my guess of why they showed more, is because it was a lot more branded. So obviously, the more branded queries you get, the more query data it will show. But again, even down in here, medium site, like it's had 14,000 clicks, it had 3,200. This site here had 1,600 clicks. This one had double that, but this had half as many queries showing. And if we were to come over to here to look at the difference between non-branded, there's a little bit more, but definitely not significant amount more. And so why is this one showing half the amount of queries? I'm not sure. So all that being said, you can look at the data here. We've linked to it right here. View our data source yourself. And the big question is, why does it matter? And basically, the idea is that people, when they look at Search Console or even using SEO Gits, which is an API wrapper, you can see that the larger the site, the more query visibility there is. But that's not always necessarily true. Looking here, let me see if I can find a large site. So 45% here, 54% there. And you can see that the API pulled out an extra 10% of click data for the queries. Another 11% here. But in this case, like no percentage, which is just, again, there's some very interesting anomalies on the query data. So there's a couple things that, again, you should take away from this, which is when I'm looking at it at Search Console as an analyst, I'm looking for a couple things. One of the biggest takeaways I got out of this, hey, what's up, Nigel? Thanks for hopping on the call. Yeah, so I think the interesting thing is that looking at data on a page level as opposed to a query level is, I think, one of the most intriguing things. Because if we look at the clicks from the page level, they're almost always close to 100 or slightly over 100%. So that's where the page seems to be giving you more information on what's performing and what's not. Now, why is it performing on the query level? That's, again, something that you're having to look into to try and solve. But the thing is that you can still find a lot of information. So again, I can see that all my click data is here, and I can see that this is growing. So the question is, why is this growing? And there's still a lot of good information. Now, obviously, we're getting a lot of clicks from our branded term. Now, are there other terms in here that, like, what is Google indexing and SEO? Sure, that's growing. Is that number perfect? Who knows? I may have been getting clicks from this. I may not have. But the point is that it's obviously heading in the right direction. So looking at things at a page level, which comes down to our content groups, that's why I love our content groups, is I can see that, okay, from a majority level, our glossary over the last 6 months is starting to grow. So what pages are starting to get the most impressions? Okay, seed keyword. Now I can come in here and start looking how to find seed keywords. Again, this is where I can go to this page, and if I have not solved that answer of how to find, right, not answered in here. So how do I choose the right seed keywords? Which is close, but this needs to be an H tag with more tutorials and actual helpful information underneath it. So those are ways to be looking at query data versus page data, thinking in topic clusters. Again, with the topic cluster side, if we come here and, again, let me just do analytic, right? So anything containing the term analytics is going to be in here. So obviously this term used to do really well and has been crushed. And so I'm curious. Yep. So this homepage used to do really well ranking for analytic terms, but when I pull up the ranking, it's 65, averaging 65, averaging 80s. So like it's such a high volume keyword. And if I actually look at that keyword right here, SEO analytics, it's not a commercial intent, it's an informational intent. And so I would need to create an informational article to be able to compete with this. So obviously the homepage is not the right page to be competing for SEO analytics. And again, this is how you're supposed to be using these tools to find information that you can rank for. So obviously, if I type in SEO analytics, this is an opportunity for us to write an article here and build keywords to it and try to rank it. But again, SEMrush, Ahrefs, WebFX, Moz, Supermetrics, like very high competition. So I don't think this is something that right out the gate that I would necessarily try to target as a keyword, just because we don't have near the same site authority that they would. Possible, yes, but there's just lower hanging fruit. Again, finding content gaps. It doesn't matter if the query level is perfect, the click data is perfect. If I'm coming in here and I want to find questions, again, here are the top questions that I'm sitting in the mid 30s for getting a lot of impressions and not getting clicks. And so how to find seed keywords. I look at that term, open it up. Okay, a simple guide to seed keywords plus 5 ways to find them. Like that's what I need to create, not the page. So if I filter by this, it's this glossary page is ranking for that. Now, would it be good to create that page and then interlink these two? Of course. But obviously I need to create something a lot better than what I currently have if I'm going to rank this page, which seems to be a solid page. What else here? Obviously comparing it to other tools is always helpful. Because again, looking at like we use Plausible. You can also use Google Business Profile Insights. One of the things that I like to do is put UTM tags on Google Business Profile so you can see them in Search Console. But again, you're just looking for patterns and trends, not for perfect numbers. Analytics, again, I mention it here, is that like, what are these spikes? Like, why are they happening? In this case, what was happening is every once in a while that site would rank for a term that we're not supposed to rank for, but it was super high volume. And so we would spike for a day, get thousands of impressions, and we go back to normal because it was like, oh yeah, that's right. You're not actually serving that intent. This here, huge drop off in impressions right away. And so the question is why? Like those are the things we're looking for in Search Console, is less so than like microscopically looking at like last 7 days. I got 86 clicks, 100. I had 111 people to my site. Like that's not what I'm coming to Search Console to look to do. I'm not looking to find, okay, this is the perfect number. That's 126, 127. But it's like, okay, you have 127 out of 156. But if I go to Plausible, is that going to say the same thing? Maybe, maybe not. What I'm looking for is what is growing and decaying. Because again, that's where these growing and decaying reports are really helpful to see, okay, so like this page is starting to get impressions. Google Search Console, why? Like those are the questions that I'm looking to find and have. Again, this site doesn't have a ton of content. We need to write more content so that it will be able to be better used in these kind of demos and stuff. But looking at other things, again, we're looking for big picture things. When I zoom out, I'm asking the question, like, why do we have a spike in traffic here? And what was it to? And so if I go to landing page, I see a spike in traffic. So obviously it was our homepage that did really well. Well, why did we do really well? Because of branded terms. That's why. Again, why are we ranking for Ahrefs free trial without credit card? No clue. It makes no sense to me. So like those are the things that you're trying to isolate. And again, say I want to look at it without this, you just click there, query doesn't equal, and there. That's a more accurate understanding of what this spike came from, which again, Cyrus shouted us out. And so we got a big spike in branded traffic. Again, that's where coming in here, I can do the same thing here and see very quickly and easily. Again, the queries are not going to be perfectly here. And I think that's, I'm keep repeating this, but like, it's not about the exact number of 32 clicks, 28 clicks, 26 clicks. There's obviously a pattern here. Something happened and then something happened again. And then now we've kind of kept the momentum. That's what we're looking for with Search Console data. Yeah, and then telling the story again, understanding why this is happening. Right here, I think I went on a webinar that people really liked, and so they jumped on. And then this was a shout out from Cyrus. Shout out to Cyrus. Thanks for giving us a little love. It really helped. And now we've kind of sustained that. But again, it's mostly branded traffic, so it correlates with this. Now, if I look at the non-branded, I can see that not much is happening. And the thing is, it doesn't really matter if these numbers of 2 and 0 are perfect. It's showing that, hey, you don't have a ton of activity going on, and it's going to these pages. So like this is the information that I would look at a little bit more accurately. Like this is my best page, which it got changed to. There you go. That's better. So that's the other fun thing is using the contains when you have a 301 redirect. So obviously this is what it used to be and this is what it is now. And so now I can see that change over time. Another fun trick is if you do 301 redirects and you want to track them, you can use the content group for that. So if I wanted to do a content group and we wanted to call this indexing page 301 tracking, right? And then we do indexing script. There we go. So now when I come back to here, this is just, I'm able to track it now with one click over a 301 redirect to see like the numbers don't have to be perfect. I'm not looking for the exact like 6 clicks. Because again, if we add this number up and we come look over here, those numbers are not going to be the same. But I do know that it will be perfectly aligned with these numbers here, which old page, new page that has been 301 redirected. And what I can even do is come in here. If I want to pull that in, I can see that at June 28th, I can come in here and set 301 redirect indexing page, glossary page. If I want to link it, you can put the URLs in there. But now, so that note's right there. When I take this off and I see that group, I can now see here is where the page is kind of swapped to the new page again right there. So it kind of took over as a little overlap, and it basically looks like we had a lot more traffic back here, and then it kind of simmered down. But the 301 redirect didn't do anything, which is obviously a good thing if you're doing 301 redirect. So you can track a lot of combination of pages with the content groups. That's a fantastic way to be using this. But yeah, there's a lot of cool things you can do with the content groups in the app. Going back to, again, yeah, just focusing on the big picture, which is like, are you trending in the right direction with the right KPIs? Organic traffic only matters if you are actually converting on sales. This bump in traffic was all branded. It also led to probably one of the best months in terms of new leads and signups because it was branded aware traffic coming to our site. That's our top KPI. Like at the end of the day, organic traffic is supposed to drive qualified traffic to take action. And so you should be tracking it at that level. And this should correlate to that story. So say you get a spike in new leads, you come to organic and you look, oh, one page took off. You'll be able to tell that that's where that came from. These are the things that you want to be tracking and understanding here, making content edits. I just made a change to a client and I'm wondering if I can do it like this. I'm going to pull this down here real quick to swap it to, okay. And then I'm going to filter page. Let's see here. I'm going to filter down here real quick. There we go. Okay. So this is, sorry for that. So right here, we made a content edit right in this area. And immediately we can see a huge jump and increase in impressions. Now, obviously no clicks. And so does it matter that the impressions went up? Ultimately, no. It's an indicator that clicks should follow. But just because that happened doesn't mean that you're going to get more clicks. Again, I'm looking at it. Rankings are followed by impressions, which are followed by clicks, which should be followed by leads, which should be followed by revenue. And you should be having a picture of that whole understanding. Search Console is just one piece of that puzzle. However, it's a very important piece of that puzzle to understand how certain things are working. Yeah, that's a big thing. I have people asking all the time, like, why do these not add up properly? And talk about it. Oh, showing you all the website information. Don't really talk about it a lot, but yeah, that's basically why they don't always match on that level. Let me pull it back up here. Again, if you do branded plus non-branded, it won't equal this number because of anonymous queries. So I see there's a couple people in the chat or watching right now. Thanks for stopping in. Let me know if you have any questions about SEO Gets, if you're a user or not. I'm going to kind of hang out for a few more minutes, see if there's any questions about the platform that I can answer. And if not, then I will probably jump off. But again, you can check out the article here. I'll link to it in the chat if you haven't checked it out yet. And yeah, that's SEO analytics for you. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's thinking about things in content groups and topic clusters as opposed to just individual keywords. Always plays off in the long run. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes. If you have any questions, go ahead, let me know in the chat, or you can obviously email me at matt@seogets.com. And yeah, share this if you find it interesting. It'd be very helpful.